A vacation turns into a whirlwind of emotions when a friend's betrayal shatters trust. Will the narrator find the strength to reclaim their worth and move forward? Discover the journey of healing and self-discovery. The disappearing purse. I'm just back from a trip that changed everything. You know how vacations can be a time for fun and relaxation? Well, mine turned into a whirlwind of emotions that I never expected. My friend and I, both 21, had set out on what was supposed to be an enjoyable getaway. But 3 days in, I found myself heartbroken over a purse. Not just any purse, mind you, but my beloved Zadig and Voltaire bag, a Christmas gift from my sister. It was a beautiful piece, and more importantly, it was a reminder of love and support during a tough time in my life. Imagine my shock when I discovered my friend had taken the purse without so much as a word. She had used it for a trip to the laundromat, and, to top it off, she had taken my money too, over €100 in cash. I was devastated. When I confronted her, I wasn't angry, I was just hurt. I tried to explain how much that purse meant to me, but instead of understanding, she rolled her eyes and told me she would just buy me a new one. It felt like she was completely dismissing my feelings, making me feel small and unimportant. I didn't want to ruin our trip, so I decided to remain neutral for the rest of the journey home. But deep down, I was wrestling with the decision to cut ties with her. How could I trust someone who so casually disregarded my belongings and my feelings? The thought of losing not just my purse, but also a friendship was weighing heavily on my mind. Mutual friends were already suggesting I let it go, insisting I was overreacting. But how could I just move on? A little voice in my head kept asking me, AITH for wanting to end our friendship? As the last night of our trip unfolded, I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. I was determined to take a stand when we got back home, but first I had to make it through the flight. Little did I know, the events that were about to unfold would push me to my limits. Part 2. The flight home. As we boarded the flight home, I was still grappling with my emotions. My friend, oblivious to my inner turmoil, asked me to keep her passport in my bag. I hesitated but agreed, wanting to keep the peace. I didn't want to deal with her attitude, especially after the whole purse debacle. But when we landed, she snapped at me, demanding to know if I had her passport. In that moment, something inside me snapped. I couldn't help but echo her earlier words about my missing purse, saying, I was checking my bag the whole time to make sure your passport was there, but maybe it'll show up when we get off the plane. I immediately regretted it, but the damage was done. She lashed out, cruelly downplaying my feelings over the purse and saying, at least I didn't throw a hissy fit, bawling crying for hours over a purse. That was it, the last straw. Here she was, acknowledging my hurt without a single hint of remorse. I was done. Once we retrieved our bags at the airport, I told her I needed to check her suitcase for my purse. I felt a mix of anxiety and determination as I faced her. If she refused to let me look, I'd have to involve the police. To my surprise, she shoved her bag at me, challenging me to go ahead. My heart raced as I opened a zipped compartment. Inside, I found a black trash bag, and within that, a red Target bag. As I pulled it out, there it was, my purse. Everything was still inside, except for the quarters. I was in disbelief. What had been her plan? Why hide it like that? I simply said, thanks, and walked away, feeling a mix of relief and confusion. I got on the bus home, not wanting to engage any further. I was exhausted, both emotionally and mentally, and I still hadn't found the right moment to voice everything I wanted to say to her. Part 3. A Mother's Revelations. After I got home, I thought about how I had gotten my purse back, but felt a lingering unease. I hadn't spoken to my friends since that day, and honestly, I wasn't sure if I wanted to. It all felt incredibly draining. To my surprise, a few nights later, her mother called me at 3 a.m. crying. She opened up about her daughter, explaining how she felt constantly belittled and how difficult their relationship had become. It was heartbreaking to hear. I had no idea her mother was going through such struggles, and while I felt sympathy, it also gave me perspective on my own situation. She mentioned how her daughter was often impulsive and didn't seem to understand the emotional weight of her actions. I felt torn. This wasn't just about my purse anymore. It was about a young woman struggling with her own demons, reflected in how she treated those around her. But that didn't excuse her behavior towards me. I still couldn't shake the feeling that this friend was someone I needed to distance myself from. The more I thought about it, the clearer it became that I deserved better, a friendship rooted in respect and understanding rather than one that made me feel like a doormat. As I contemplated reaching out to her mother again once she was in a better headspace, I couldn't help but feel the weight of the situation. I was still unsure how to proceed. Did I tell her mother what happened, or would that just add to her pain? I knew I had to make a decision soon, but I was left pondering what the best course of action would be. Part 4. Moving forward. In the days that followed, I decided to cut ties with my friend. The emotional turmoil I had endured wasn't worth it, and I couldn't shake the feeling that she would only continue to bring negativity into my life. I blocked her on all social media, feeling a sense of relief wash over me. But I still had lingering questions. What had she intended to do with my purse? Had it been a trophy for her, or had she simply not thought through the consequences of her actions? I couldn't understand how someone could be so callous and yet so oblivious to the pain they cause others. My family and friends supported my decision, reassuring me that I wasn't the villain in this story. As time went on, I felt lighter. I had my purse back, a symbol of my sister's love, and I was determined to surround myself with people who value respect and trust. I knew I deserved friendships that uplifted me rather than ones that made me question my worth. I reflected on my experience and felt grateful for the lessons learned. The journey wasn't easy, but it had brought me clarity. I was ready to move forward, leaving behind the drama and seeking out connections that would nourish my spirit. And perhaps, in time, I would find even deeper friendships that celebrated the beautiful memories I cherished rather than tarnishing them. I closed that chapter with a sense of hope, knowing that better days were ahead.